Hey y'all, I'm sorry I'm not there today. I'm single parenting, and my daughter, who's been sick for about 3.5 weeks, just showed up with a fever this morning and is really, really sick. And even as you're listening to this, I'm sitting in a doctor's office with her, hoping we can get something done about it. Um, as you can see, I'm sitting at home. This is my study at home. And trust me, I'm kind of as horrified as you are at seeing me on a big screen and letting you see the chaos that is my study. What you see over my shoulder over there is a stack of boxes that includes sinks and light fixtures and other things that will go into my kitchen, which will be done soon. There's a very good chance you're going to see Sunny appear. He's my cat who managed to get himself in a fight last week and get an infected foot, and he's now locked in the study with me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the presentation from the Imalaki Farm Workers group, and I hope there is something that you all are motivated to do something about. It's kind of interesting that we started with that, since so much about this book is related to food and food issues, and especially about farming practices. So maybe not a bad place for us to start. So a little bit of background on the book, and then I'm gonna turn you loose to do some work in class on your own, because I believe you all are smart enough and awesome enough to do that. First of all, I know you're getting anxious about the papers. Believe me, so am I. It is my solemn goal to get them all done by Thursday night. So we'll see how well I do at that, but it really is my goal to do that. I'd be love to have them all done by Wednesday night, but we'll see if I can manage that. So a little bit of background on the book. First, books 1 and 2, the book starts in the late 1880s, and the whole book takes place in the Southwest, in a space between Arizona, Nevada, and California. You all may want to, when this is done, pull up a map of that area. If you Google Needles, California map, and you kind of expand it out a little bit, you can get a sense of where all this is happening. Silko herself grew up in New Mexico at the Laguna Pueblo, but she's lived in Arizona for most of her adult life. Although she's lived all over, including Alaska. It's also might interest you that she was the recipient of one of those MacArthur Genius Grants. In the first 2 books, the ones that you were supposed to have read for today, she's setting up the conflict between the U.S. government and Native peoples in the Southwest. So I'm sorry about that. A little bit of a background on that. The 1880s were really the last point of major resistance from Native peoples against the U.S. government, and it was the last big push of the U.S. government to subdue that resistance. So in 1885, Geronimo was finally forced to surrender. You will probably grew up yelling Geronimo when you jumped on something, and you might not have realized that he was in fact a hero of the American Indian resistance in the 1880s. He was an Apache and led a group of mostly Apaches, but some other Indians as well, through the part of northern Mexico that touches Arizona, and through a lot of Arizona and New Mexico. But in 1885, he was finally forced to surrender. And the surrender of Geronimo was the kind of beginning of the end for American Indian resistance. And it culminated in Wounded Knee. And I'm going to have you look up what Wounded Knee was and where it happened and what the background was. And that's going to be part of what you all are going to do in class today. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that. What you might want to know is that Pueblo Indians, and Silko herself, Laguna is a Pueblo. And Pueblo means community or village. And the Pueblo Indians were the ones who settled close to rivers. They were farmers and gatherers. Apaches were hunters. So there was a big difference in culture between them. But the Pueblo Indians and other kind of farming Indians really tried not to resist. They tried to work with the U.S. government. Eventually, the peaceful Indians kind of divided into two groups. The nomadic people, like the ones that she describes as sand lizards, really tried very hard to just escape from the U.S. government. The Pueblo Indians tried to cooperate. What happened is everybody ended up put on reservations, not in a way that they wanted to. The plan for today. All right, I'm going to kind of cut this short because my plan today is for you all to put yourselves in groups organized around who has a computer. If you have to use phones, but a laptop would be better for this. I've on the Canvas website that Megan's going to bring up. And by the way, thank you, Megan, for doing this for me. I've suggested some historical research that your groups should do. And so do a little bit of background. Wikipedia is actually fine for this. Do a little bit of historic background and then come back as a large group and report to each other the kind of historical background because it'll be useful in understanding what you see. And then I've also on the Canvas website suggested some themes, and I want to see if maybe you can come up with some more themes for you all to be thinking as you're doing your reading for Thursday. I will see you on Thursday. I won't be single parenting then, so even if my daughter's sick, I can be in class. But have a good class. I trust that you all can do this on your own without me. I'll see you Thursday.